All right, how you feel after the Corbin Cooper interview?
Man, I feel dope. I feel charged up. I'm fired up and ready to go. What's happening?
That's good. So in the first half of y'all's conversation, y'all were talking a lot of education and a lot of legal jargon and prison jargon. So
right.
I was hoping you could help clarify some things for our audience. All right,
let's do it.
So there was trial versus plea. What's the difference between being a trial nigga and a plea nigga? What's the difference?
Well, what, were you finished?
Yeah.
Okay. The difference is when you take a plea, you're just basically admitting to your guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the government always has an interest to people taking a plea, because if you take a plea, they don't really have to do any more work. It saves them money. They don't have to go to trial, and they have certainty of outcome. That's what they're always really looking for. When you plead guilty,
that conviction rate.
For that conviction rate.
Okay.
Once you plead guilty, that's it. You also have to give up most, if not all, of your rights when you plead guilty. Your rights such as the right to an appeal.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give that up. And then 9 times out of 10 in the feds, or 99 times out of 100, as part of that plea deal, if you really want to get a short, they're going to give you a shortened sentence anyway, just for the fact that you're not tasking the government with proving their case, because you're just going to admit that you're guilty, admit to your responsibility, and then you're going to tell your role in that crime that you committed. However, it's a step further that the feds play. Then they're going to give you a bigger time cut, which is called a 5K1 if it's before trial, or which is a cooperation deal. They really want you to cooperate, not only tell on yourself, but they want you to tell on all your friends. Mm-hmm. So that's where the cooperation comes in. It's called 5K1. They have 5K1 and they have Rule 35B. 5K1 is when you cooperate before trial. Rule 35B is if you cooperate after you've already been sentenced. Now, the difference between a trial is if you're a trial nigga like me, mm-hmm. where you're going to make the government prove their case. Okay. Now, I'm not necessarily condoning that, because you got to be a certain type of dude to be able to know that you're able to deal with the consequences. Because when you do go to trial, mm-hmm. and this is to serve as a warning, when you go to trial with the feds, if you lose, you're going to get way more time than you would have got if you would have pled guilty. Mm-hmm. And it's different in every case, but it could be twice as much, 3 times as much. Sometimes it's a life sentence as compared to maybe 20 years or something like that. As Corbin Cooper shared with you, when you watch and you listen, yeah. This young brother went to trial and they gave him life without the possibility of parole. Yeah. But for President Trump granting him clemency, he'd still be in prison to die.
Even you went to trial, though, but then later found out you had ineffective counsel. But because you didn't take the plea, you were able to go back and fight that, right?
There you go. Exactamundo. Had I taken that plea, I wouldn't have been able to fight that anyway. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's nuances in it where you could still jump through extraordinary hurdles, and even if you take a plea, if you're able to prove that it was a bad plea deal based on the information that your attorney gave you, sometimes you can still get back in, but for the most part, you signing away your right and your ability to be able to appeal.
Wow. Something else that y'all said that was interesting was when y'all were mentioning hearsay and its admissibility in state court or state trial versus federal trial. What's the deal with that?
Well, in conspiracy, I don't know about just specifically federal, okay. But in the conspiracy law in federal court, they have yes, conspiracy is conspiracy, and you learn about that in law school, and you hear about it, you see it on Perry Mason and Matlock, whatever the hell you see it. But in real life, in a conspiracy trial, there are exceptions to the hearsay rule. Mm-hmm. And those exceptions basically give the government an end around to be able to get the testimony that they want, even if it is hearsay. So when you might believe, somebody can't come in that's not there. No, they can't. There's all type of different exceptions. You got exceptions to the rule, and you got exceptions to the exceptions, and you have exceptions to the exceptions to the exception. But they don't fuck around in federal court.
Somewhere along the way, they hope you lose track of those exceptions.
There you go. And somewhere along the way, they're going to knock your head off.
So, and this is hearsay specifically in regards to conspiracy?
Yes.
Okay.
So in a conspiracy charge, there is an exception to the hearsay rule.
Okay. Interesting. All right. And
then it was interesting to me too. I didn't find it out until it happened. And then I was at trial. I was like, what the fuck?
Like, oh my God. Okay. So that leads me to my next question. You and him also mentioned about states being part of a certain circuit and why you should avoid North Carolina because it's the worst circuit. Can you give us a breakdown of the state circuits and why we should avoid North Carolina specifically?
Yes. Well, the federal system is broken down to, and don't quote me on this, but I think it's broken down to 11 or 12 circuits. I don't know the exact amount of circuits.
Is it like a regional thing?
It's a regional thing. Each circuit in the appellate court is going to be broken down into several states. So North Carolina falls under the jurisdiction of the Fourth Circuit. The Fourth Circuit is known to be the most conservative circuit in the whole United States of America. The Fourth Circuit is comprised of South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, and Maryland. That's the Fourth Circuit. The next most conservative circuit is the 11th Circuit, which is comprised of Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, and there might be a couple more, but you don't want to mess around with them either. Conservative means,
they're gonna throw the book at you.
Yeah, conservative to black folk translates to racist, and they're gonna knock your fucking head off. Mm-hmm. However they can, they're gonna give it to you.
And so North Carolina is the worst out of all of those.
Well, the Fourth Circuit.
The Fourth Circuit.
So North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, and Maryland, they're not gonna play with you. They're very conservative. You're gonna lose. And you're gonna get a lot of time. And it ain't gonna be fair.
Ain't gonna be pretty. All right, so the next question I have is, have you ever applied for clemency when you were in prison?
I did not.
You did not? We know some people who have, though, don't we?
We do.
I was wondering if you had any knowledge on the process of applying for clemency.
I know. Well, yeah, actually, I have applied. Actually, I said that before.
Yeah.
Well,
some memories are coming back.
No, let me be specific. I did not apply for clemency while I was in prison. You asked when I was in prison. No. Okay. But I have applied for a pardon now, as we speak. But I've been home from prison for a number of years, but I'm still looking for that pardon. The process is essentially, it's an application that you can go on the federal government's website, the Department of Justice, and you can fill it out. But, it's going to ask for background information. It's going to ask for the details of your case. It's going to ask for, all of the details, like when were you convicted, whether you plead, whether you went to trial. It's going to want character witnesses. What are you doing now? Why should you be considered for pardon or clemency or commutation of your sentence? All of the above. And it's very hard to get. And if you've got a lot of money and you've got friends in powerful places, it's going to give you the better chance of obtaining it. So I love to hear about people that, are not born into privilege, being able to actually get some type of relief, such as Corvain Cooper, such as Harry O. None of us was born into privilege, and we was all able to get some mercy from, I believe it all comes from God. But it's always going to be a human being that has been used as a vessel to be able to grant you what God has decided. And
you and Ricky Brown applied for a pardon, right?
We have.
Are y'all still in the process of that, or are you able to say?
We're in the wait process.
So the application process is fairly easy. It's just the waiting and see if you get approval.
Well, I wouldn't say easy. It's
straightforward.
It's straightforward. Okay. Yes, but it's meticulous. And it's time consuming. I mean, it might be 20 pages because they're asking for a lot of different information, character witnesses. Yeah. You've got to go into detail. You've got to talk about what you've done since you've been home, why you should be considered. All of that type of stuff is included in there.
Interesting.
And you better not lie, or it's automatically disqualification.
Automatically.
And they ask you to sign away, like you could actually be prosecuted for lying because you have to sign a statement
through the application process.
Yes, through penalty of perjury that you're telling the truth. And that you swear to God that everything that's on that application is true. Wow. And that if you're lying, you could be prosecuted.
During this application process?
Well, yeah, because they want you to know that, like, if you're lying to try and get us to grant you a pardon, and we find out you're lying, we're going to book you,
coming for you
for penalty of perjury, lying under oath. Because when you sign that statement, you're swearing under oath that everything that you say is true and correct to the best of your ability.
I'm figuring out how I want to ask this. So
just ask.
There's a few people that we know. Some have been pardoned or given clemency by President Obama. Some have been pardoned or given clemency from President Trump. So what are your thoughts on that and how it might affect or influence someone's support of one party or the other?
My thoughts on that, and this is an emotional thought for me, so if I start going crazy, you can calm me down. Okay. I don't want to take sides on any political affiliation. That's not what it's about for me. So this ain't politics. This is real life. The Democrats are soft as hell, and I'm sick of them. Motherfucking Trump, he's gangster, and I like him for that. Without saying whether or not I support or don't support him. Remember that. Take that out of this. I'm not supporting or not supporting anyone, but I am supporting right versus wrong. And in my opinion, Trump is a gangster, and that probably had a lot to do with him winning. And by gangster, I'm using that as a term of endearment. I appreciate his conviction. Whatever reason he did it for, when he wants to do it, he does it. So, there might be some people like Harry O. or Corvain Cooper. People might look at them and say, oh, you support Trump. And I don't know if they support Trump either, but specifically with Harry O., for example, he has something on social media, so I'll speak to that. So I'm not making an opinion or guessing about who he supports, but he spoke to the reason why he supports Trump is because Trump got him out of prison. Trump gave him his freedom back. Obama had the same opportunity to let Corvain Cooper out, and he didn't. Obama has spoke before. And listen, I love Obama, but I'm disappointed in the fact that he didn't do more when he was in a position to do it. I'm disappointed in Biden that he didn't do more when he was in a position to do it. And Biden is still in a position to do it. So maybe I'm speaking too soon because he can do it up until the last second before he leaves the White House. Now, as y'all know or might not know, myself, Corvain Cooper, Harry O., and so many of us were convicted under the 1994 crime bill. That is a bill that Biden authored. He penned that bill and signed it when he was a senator in the United States Congress. So I say that to say that Biden has also spoken about how that bill was a mistake, how he apologizes for it, how it was wrong, and he wished that he could undo it. Well, President Biden, you can undo it. So I say that to say maybe everybody doesn't deserve to come home. I understand that. I'm speaking specifically to non-violent drug offenders and maybe even some violent offenders, but I don't want to speak about whether or not somebody should come home if they took a life. That's not for me to decide. That's up to God. But I will speak to whether or not somebody should be doing decades in prison or a life sentence without the possibility of parole for a non-violent drug offense, specifically marijuana, and in particular marijuana because it's legalized in almost half of the states, and even more than half, we have some form of recreational use or medicinal purposes. So yes, it's disgusting. And we as a society and a country, we got to do more. We cannot have our fellow citizens laboring and dying and growing old in prisons where citizens are paying taxes to take care of them. Families have been broken and destroyed, all because of some nonviolent nonsense law that y'all got on the books. Locking people up is inhumane, is horrible, is cruel and unusual treatment of human beings, fellow citizens, Americans. So President Trump, who believes in making America great again, maybe that's what he's talking about. I believe you, Trump. So make it happen. If Biden ain't going to do it and the Democrats is going to be scared as hell, soft as hell, and hypocritical to letting people come home to a law that they know is wrong, then fuck them. We need you to do it. But if you're going to do it, Biden, I love you too. Come on, man, because I got a partner with you right now. I need you to free me, man. Free me so I can go to law school, so I can even be a better contributor to society than I already am. I need that, man. I need it. Nonviolent marijuana. People smoking weed all over. Weed and marijuana has become a household thing here in America. This is America.
Okay. Very passionate on
All
this.
right.
Okay.
I got more, but I'll stop for now.
I got some pushback for you. Okay. So I think we got to be careful about saying, Democrats, we Republicans, not so much. Because I did a little Google search. All right. And I Googled how many prisoners did President Obama release from jail during his presidency. Obama has 1,927 pardons under his presidency.
Okay, I like it.
Donald Trump, 237.
Holy cow.
Joe Biden, 11. But there's more of an asterisk there. So Obama is one of the leaders. I think Franklin D. Roosevelt had the highest amount of pardons, and I don't know what that's for. But there's an asterisk next to Joe Biden because
11. It's a joke.
However, there's an asterisk there. This is excluding, because this is from Wikipedia, excluding 6,500 pardoned for simple possession of marijuana. So he has been keeping true to his campaign promise of alleviating or releasing people from prison, that were affected by some of the damages that his past laws have inflicted on people. He is holding true to it.
Okay, no, well, I got some pushback on that. Okay, number one, Obama.
Good combo.
You're doing your thing, and I like that. I did know that you commuted the sentences of more than any other president. However, I still think you could have done more. And I think every president can do more because, yes, 6,000 or 1,900 people, however many people, that's commendable. And I applaud you on that. And that's dope. But I just feel, and obviously I'm not in your position, I wasn't there, but I know that the pardon power is unchallengeable. So yes, 1,900 people did get out, but how many tens of thousands of people are still in there? So to that note, I'll say that. And once again, I'm not taking sides. To Biden, 11, to me, you got to do a whole lot more, and I hope you do a whole lot more.
But actually, 6,500.
Well, I'm going to tell you why I said the 11.
Okay.
Because the 6,500, I remember when that happened. That's the simple possession of marijuana. I mean, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But literally, that just pardoned people that were not even in prison anymore. That was just wiping the record clean of people that was in there for simple possession, like, misdemeanor, because it could affect you. I mean, I'm not saying that that's not warranted, and I'm not saying that that's not good, but those people that got pardoned are not in prison. You still gotta look out for the people that are literally incarcerated away from their families, taken out of society and locked up. Yes, it was a good thing. I know that it affected people with getting jobs and loans and what have you. And I remember when they did that and they pardoned all those people if you had simple possession. But simple possession is just that. We talking about most of the time what these is misdemeanor charges where people are not locked up, but it might affect them in getting a job, or they might have to mark the box that says that they have been convicted of a misdemeanor. It's a simple possession where they might have got caught with less than an ounce. And yes, that is helpful, but we cannot forget about the people that are literally incarcerated, or they're not incarcerated like myself, but they got felonies, which is a huge obstacle to doing other things that they may want to do in life, like practicing law. And there's hundreds, if not thousands of things that we, and people like me and us, that we have obstacles and we will never be able to do them simply because of these felony convictions of a nonviolent crime.
So that's right in line with the 40 tons movement that Corvain Cooper has going on, right? And that's their entire mission, is there's 40,000 people still in prison based off of some simple cannabis charge, right? So that's the movement right there.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. I love the movement.
I wonder how
we back the movement.
Yeah.
We want to be a part of the movement. Corvain Cooper, 40 tons. Check them out. The Fight for Cannabis Justice.
That's it.
That's it. All right. Audience, everybody out there, appreciate you for checking us out. As you always do, continue to come in so you can get this dope info. We teaching lifestyles. We teaching information. We giving good game. We talking about experiences. We sharing experiences. We got the dopest of the dope individuals. Real, recognized, real. In and Out Podcast. The realest podcast for your listening ears and seeing eyes. Continue to check us out at INNOUTWW by Eric Gerald. That's In and Out Podcast by Eric Gerald. Wherever you get your social media, wherever you check out your podcast, always come on. Make sure that you like, follow, back, and comment. And whenever you see that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube and everywhere else. If you see that button, and I don't know if it's a red button, a round button, whatever type of button it is, but when you see it, hit it. Share it with your friends. Collaborate. Post us. Celebrate us as we celebrate you. In and Out Podcast. We appreciate you for checking in. And now we out.